Thank you. Thank you. Talking about the names of God, the way it is in the Bible during their own time, that they were able to give God names based on encounters and situations, is the same way we Africans give God names. The same way someone came up and said he's Jehovah Rapha, our healer, which means he experienced God who healed him, to give him a name called Jehovah Rapha. When you hear Jehovah Jireh, he provided, he's the provider. Jehovah Sikenu, you're talking about his righteousness. And so on and so on. El Elyon, El Shaddai, the covenant-keeping God, great names. We gave God names too. Some called him Jehovah, they do things. Because he has done it for them consistently. And then because of the signs, wonders, and miracles that we experience back, because of the kind of problems we have in Africa, it's different from Western world problems. I explained one earlier, but there are other ones. There are different problems. So when God does great things to deliver you from issues, and you see signs and wonders and miracles happen, then you call him Jehovah El Ephizi, the God of all effects. But one particular one that I love is for those of us that grew up the rough way, which they locally say Paco. Please turn to your neighbor and say Paco. That's P-A-K-O, Paco. I used grammatical English American to Paco. It's Paco. That's P-A-K-O. How many Paco people do we have here? It's okay if you don't identify. It's okay. It's okay. We that we identify with it, we are proud of it, because even Jesus himself was a Paco boy. Because the Bible says he was the son of a... What does a carpenter use for work? Thank you. So we identify, Jesus was not born in a hospital, he was born in a manger. That's Paco life. He lived the average, he didn't live the luxurious life. He came, he suffered, and he conquered. He's a Paco. So I identify with Jesus as a Paco boy. Now look at this scenario where there's one common thing with Paco people. While growing up, we're always hungry. Always hungry. Not hungry to be great men. Not hungry to achieve something in life. Like hunger. We are never satisfied. That's why some of us ended up being big in our old age. But when we were young, we were very lean, but very hungry. That's why sometimes when you're not satisfied with the food they give you, you still go ahead, plan, scheme to go and steal meat from the pot. How many have stolen meat from the pot here before? We are in the church. Behave. You cannot lie before God. If you want to lie, ask Ananias and Sapphira. What happened to them? So one more time, if you have stolen meat from the pot, raise your hand. If God could do it for Pastor Tunde, who are you? A old man of God who the Lord is using now was once. Yes. And that experience is always life transforming, because you don't steal it during the day. You try it at night when everyone is sleeping. So you wake up in your local environment. As usual, you navigate tiptoe so they don't hear the sound of your foot. But where you have problem is the door. Our kind of door those days. God will judge those carpenters. I'm telling you. Because you get to the door, the handle will be the first one to make noise. Because it sounds rusty. But you now have to use experience to open it. If you just do, but with experience, you hold it firmly and you turn it slowly. So the sound cannot wake up anybody. It will still give a but you hold it. But the problem now After you've successfully opened this, are the hinges. You know the hinges are the... Because when you open it, so to prevent that, what you do is you now jack the door up. Break it down. You now jack it up and you now tiptoe to open the door, and then you come out and do the same thing to close it. Then you will still tiptoe to get to the kitchen. Now, just before we slept, mommy just finished cooking, so the pot is still hot. And you know the kind of pot we have then and the one we have now is unfair on us. So we suffered, our generation just suffered for no reason. I don't know why. Even to pot, they make all these pots out of is it aluminum or whatever they call it? It's not the way, pan. Someone, for you to even know the material of the pot, you are a seasoned. I'm talking of your past, not now. You were a seasoned thief. Now, you now try to open the pot. But because it's hot, most of those pots never had that handle. You know that handle that used to, some of them use only the two holes you see on the pot. No handle. So you now have to hold the whole cover. But you not knowing, because you had planned, your aim was the meat. So you just went there, picked it, and because it's hot, it dropped. Now let me explain that drop, because that is where you will know how God intervenes. That drop, those were the kind of covers of pots that don't just do bang. It had a present, continuous, future tense sound. So when it falls here, you now hear from the door, who is that? That's where you call him Jehovah Bamila, the God that rescues me.